You're listening to Your Magical Midlife, the podcast for women 40 and up. I'm Kate Higgins. I'm a licensed clinical social worker turned coach, and I'm here to be your guide, your friend, and your mentor. I'm here to light your way into your most magical midlife. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Your Magical Midlife. So yesterday, I fell in the street. And my biggest takeaway is not that I'm clumsy or I wasn't wearing the right shoes or I wasn't looking where I was going. My takeaway is I have officially reached the age where I'm too old to fall. Okay? Today, I am jacked. I hurt in the strangest places. It's like I fell and I fell. I wiped out. But I shouldn't hurt this much, okay? I'm only 52. I shouldn't feel like I was run over by a bus. And truly, today, I don't feel good at all. And that is one of the most disturbing things that has happened to me and a lot of my friends who I talk to about this is you get to a certain age, usually your mid-40s, and you hurt yourself doing things that you could have done with absolute ease in your 30s and your 20s, your teens, as a child. I mean, I threw myself around. As a little kid, I was very active. I was, jumping and doing gymnastics. And I came of age during the time where Nadia Comaneci was a big deal. Mary Lou Retton was a big deal. Theodora Ungrianato, I don't even think I said her name correctly. She was a big deal. All these gymnasts were a huge deal. So I spent a significant portion of my childhood throwing myself around and falling and hurting myself constantly in my backyard, in my dreams of being a gymnast. I took dance lessons and I wanted to be a ballerina. I went on point and failed miserably. I put my body through a lot as a child, and I always remember feeling good, feeling springy, nothing hurt. If I hurt myself, I got up, I dusted myself off, and I moved on. In my 20s and my 30s, I most definitely remember falling, hurting myself, getting up, bouncing back, being fine. No problem. In my 40s, I remember, waking up and not being able to turn my head on several occasions. That was the first time that I remember sleeping wrong and waking up feeling out of sorts or achy or like you pulled a muscle in your sleep and you're like, how did that happen to me? How did I hurt myself asleep? How did I pull my neck out, blow drying my hair? Why do my feet hurt? I was wearing those heels for 45 minutes to an hour, and now I feel like my feet are on fire or whatever. Like the aches and pains from a life well lived show up prominently in your 40s. Now, I did find out, interestingly enough, that muscle aches and pains are related, and I never thought about this in my 40s, but I'm going to share this information with you now, and you probably haven't thought about it either. But as your estrogen levels drop or start to become fluctuating, you are more susceptible to aches and pains. Now, that's hindsight is 2020, right? Now I have no estrogen. I had a radical hysterectomy. I don't have any ovaries. I don't have anything that makes estrogen. I know that there are estrogen receptors all over the body, so I probably have stores of estrogen various places hidden away, like squirrels hiding nuts in the winter, but not much, people. And also I am now on HRT, so I am less achy, but I certainly don't feel as physically good as I did in my 20s. Now, I mean, I could have laid in bed all day today. I really do feel horrible from my fall in the street. So what happened was I was finishing my walk and I was tired, and I was dehydrated, and the sun was shining on me. And it was a midday walk because I had to do something early in the morning, so I couldn't do my walk right at 6 a.m., which is normally when I go. And so I walked at like 10:30. I was done around noon. It was hot. The sun was beaming down on me, and I fell over a crack in the sidewalk, and I fell hard. And my phone flew, and, I caught myself with my hands. And just for a minute, when you fall hard, you're like, okay, all right, can I get up? Did I break anything? Am I going to be okay? Do I have to call 911? And then it's like, okay, you realize you're going to be okay and you're going to be able to get up. And then you're like, okay, did anyone see me fall? And thankfully, I didn't break anything. I didn't even sprain anything. I scuffed up my knee and I scuffed up both my hands. And I was about 100 feet from my car when I fell. So I hobbled over to my car. And my heart was a little poundy because it was just a jarring, like, oh my God, am I hurt? Because, guys, I can't like break my leg right now. I just can't. All right. I was laid off from my job. My insurance situation is precarious. I have one insurance right now, but I'll have a new insurance November 1st. And I'm sure Aetna knows that I'm at the end of the line with them. And if I hurt myself badly, they're not going to want to pay for anything because they know 2 weeks I won't have them anymore. And I don't have great insurance anyway. So I can't afford to hurt myself. I'm at this point in my life where I'm putting myself out there in a big way. I can't afford to have like a major injury that sets me back and then I can't do anything. And I can't afford to get depressed. I have too much shit going on. And if this reminds you of the episode where I talked about my hysterectomy, here we go. I guess that's the same lesson I had last time. I don't have time to rest and I don't have time to be injured. So it's disquieting how much one little fall hurt me. Like, it's disturbing. And now I understand why it's such a big deal when my elderly father falls at the assisted living and they call me and they make such a giant deal out of it. Now I understand. Because this fall reminded me that it's just going to be worse. It's going to be a more injurious fall in 10 years. And then it's going to be worse in 20 years. And then in 30 years, falling will become a crisis. And there's only really so much you can do to prevent that. Because you can have really good nutrition, you can stay in good shape, but you're going to age regardless. So the preventative things that you can do is to stay healthy, stay nimble, exercise as much as you can, stay as strong as you can. I'm watching my dad go downhill pretty quickly. He's had a number of falls in the past year, and he is in an assisted living. And he had COVID, and he had 6 falls in 1 week, and they sent him out to the emergency room. And the emergency room sent him back to the assisted living. 2 days later, he has another fall. They send him back out. He gets admitted to the hospital. He's in the hospital as I record this episode. And he's okay. He's medically stable. But he has to step down to a rehab before the assisted living will even consider taking him back. And he's just not strong at all. He's not physically strong. And when he falls, he can't even turn himself over. Like if he falls on his butt and like lands on his back, he can't like roll over and get on his knees and help himself up. You basically have to lift him. And I know we're all going to get there eventually. And it's not great. But do what you can now to extend your vitality as long as you possibly can. That fall kind of put the fear of God in me, the fall I had yesterday. It's like, oh, I need to be doing some strength training. I need to be doing some stretching. I mean, I'm in decent shape. I walk 6.5 miles every morning. And I'm pretty strong. I can lift almost half my body weight. Pretty good, right? For a 52-year-old chick. But I want to maintain my vitality. I want to maintain my strength. I want to maintain my flexibility. And most of all, I want to maintain my independence. I don't want to end up in a nursing home, which is kind of where I feel my dad is heading. And that is so sad and so disturbing. And I know it's not what he wants, really, for himself. It's not what I want for him. It's not what my brother wants for him. But what's going to happen? I mean, it's the reality of what's going to happen. I can't physically care for him. My brother can't physically care for him. And this is kind of like where we see this going. And it's really sad. This is another fire under my butt for creating the community that I want to live in as I age. And my dream and my big vision is to create a community where people who have lived outside the box can live together in semi-independence and semi-dependence. And my brother kind of laughed at me and said, I'm starting a commune. And to a certain extent, he's right. But it's a community. It would be a community. And it's something I really think would be the best way to age. And I'm dead serious, guys. I really want this to happen. I don't want to live even in the really nice place that my dad is currently living at or hopes to return to now. It's really nice. It's stupid expensive. Thank God he has long-term insurance. I have not planned that well. I don't have the money for long-term insurance. I don't have the money to live in a medical Marriott, which is basically what he's living in now. And I certainly don't want to end up in some depressing nursing home because nothing good happens there. Let's choose today to age with vitality. Let's choose today to make a plan, even if it scares you to think of yourself at 80 or 85 or 90. The foundation of how you're going to live then starts today. It probably actually started when you were like 35, but we can't go back to 35, can we? We can only plan forward. So I'm going to stretch and I'm going to start doing some light weights and I'm going to continue to walk and I'm going to start looking at plots of land because it has to happen. I have to grow community. I don't have kids. And you know what? Even if you have kids, can you really depend on your kids to take you in when you're 85? Are they going to be competent to do that? Wouldn't you rather live with your friends? Wouldn't you rather have movie nights with your friends in a community? I mean, that sounds so much more fun to me. Let's live with joy. Let's age with vitality and vibrancy. Let's do this. Let's plan for it. One little fall does not have to make a tragedy of your life. Let's not let that happen to us. Let's commit to ourselves now to take whatever steps we need to take to make sure that we age with joy and vitality. Now, before I close today, I want to pick a card for me and you. And I'm going to do this every episode, I think, because it's fun. It's a good way to wrap up. It keeps me in the flow, and it reminds me of why I'm doing this podcast in the first place. So I want you to take a moment and close your eyes and think about something that you desire or something that you need a little guidance on. And we're going to choose a card for this episode. And the card for this episode is the Five of Pentacles. So the Five of Pentacles is about a material loss. And it doesn't feel great. It doesn't. The Five of Pentacles is that insecurity, that lack mentality, that feeling that all of it is lost. But the message with the Five of Pentacles is that it's temporary. It's a temporary feeling. It's a temporary feeling, and it's an attitude. Are you really missing the things that you think you're missing? Or are you just not bringing your awareness to them? So what I invite you to do around the Five of Pentacles is to remind yourself of all the amazing things you do have, instead of focusing on the things that you feel you do not have. That's the underlying message of this card. The loss is temporary. Keep your eyes on what you still have and the good in your life. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. Thanks again for listening to Your Magical Midlife. I'm Kate Higgins, and I'm your host. I have a website. It's called www.yourmagicalmidlife. You can follow me under the same name on Instagram and all social media. I offer one-to-one coaching and group coaching, this podcast, and retreats. I would be so excited to work with you. You can join my mailing list and hear all the juicy details about the offerings I will be holding in the future. In the meantime, don't forget to rate, like, and subscribe. I'll see you next week. Have a great one.